So, Oda did it. Kaido is down for the count. Interesting. And we finally got the flashback that we wanted. So, well, personally, I'm okay with the flashback. I know some people wanted a few things, like maybe a little bit more rocks, or say a little bit more about the Oni heritage, which, frankly, technically speaking, was never outright stated that would be a plot point. That was mostly just fan theories that, honestly, we set our expectations a tad bit too high, but, you know, is he an Oni? Is he a human? Honestly, does it really matter? Maybe, but maybe we'll see, or maybe we'll never see. But personally, I'm kind of okay with it. It's not important to the story of Wano, seemingly, or if it was, it would have been shown. So, I was just thinking it would be more important, you know? Which, in the end, seemingly wasn't interesting, but Kaido's down. The flashback shows that he's from the Vodka Kingdom. That was interesting. We didn't get to see a lot more than that. It kind of flashed through each thing. A few panels here, a few panels here. 1 year here, 47. It's like all over the place. And I get it. I understand it. It more or less worked. For anyone who wanted maybe a 2-chapter thing or a 3-chapter thing, or something as long as Odin's backstory, or even something at least is the same length as Big Mom's flashback, I get it. And technically, I would have been fine with something like that too. I would have loved that. Was it necessary? Maybe, but because his flashback in general might be a little bit more tied to rocks, maybe Oda doesn't want to do the same thing he did with, say, Odin's, which he revealed almost in his own admission, almost too much. He felt like if he went too far, he might accidentally reveal the One Piece in that flashback. So in terms of what we got, it's what was needed for the story. I get it, the execution wasn't over the hills amazing, nor was it, frankly, bad. It was more than serviceable. It gave us exactly what we really needed. So I'm okay with it. I don't really care. It was still a decent chapter, a good finish. But the finish. Let's talk about the finish after we just quickly go tie up the other little plot points that finished, like, well, not little. Some of them are bigger than others. Let's start with the biggest of those little plot points, being Momo finally doing the flame clouds. Great, he did it. Big whoop. We all knew he was going to. I mean, it wasn't a big surprise. Honestly, that's the one thing with this chapter. It wasn't just the flashback. If there was one demerit, it's that everything had a little bit less room to breathe than it. In some cases, it might have needed. Some cases, it didn't really need. Like the flashback, I don't think it needed more room to breathe. But in terms of the 2 bigger plot points in the main timeline being the flame clouds, it could have used a tad bit more time to breathe. And defeating Kaido also could have used a bit more time to read, because let's be frank, how many of you needed to reread the chapter to really understand how Kaido was defeated? I sure shit did. Because, frankly, on top of not realizing until my second read through that Kaido was still normal sized within the magma dragon, that I didn't realize right away. And then I also didn't realize that was Momo in the end of the chapter on the ground after he settled Onigashima down. I didn't realize Onigashima had actually touched down. I didn't realize that was Momo. Where did Kaido go? Did he go into a new hole? Did he go into the same hole as Big Mom? Are there 2 Emperors of the Sea unconscious in the same hole right now? That'd be funny, actually, if it was. But nonetheless, like, some of it wasn't exactly clear. And I know Oda had made that statement that he didn't want it to be a bigger punch. What was he going to do? Put a kick in there? Because at the end of the day, Luffy is a puncher. Now, on the other hand, to get to that point, from these last 49 chapters, from Red Rock back in chapter 1000, Oda has done a great job, and I'm not going to short him for that. Like, he really, really pulled all the stops out in making it seem like this was Luffy's toughest fight yet. So, I'm not going to hold him on that. The final punch could have been a little bit better, I think. It also felt like it was doing what the anime does with turning punches into beam struggles, so it actually did lose some points with me overall, but that's just me personally. Objectively, I still think it was not... It still wasn't the worst thing. It was still good-ish. Like I said, it was still hard to read, and it could have had a better paneling for that in particular. Like, and beam struggles for punches. It's actually funny. Like, I complain about how the anime handled the first Luffy versus Kaido fight. There was like one point where Kaido's just, his dragon snout is like clashing with Luffy's fist. That was basically what Oda gave us. But flamier! But I accept it begrudgingly. Okay, maybe I'm not as satisfied as I thought I was, but I'm still... I know that most of my gripes are literally just my own personal gripes due to expectations I set, which were still lower than the rest of the fan bases, most likely. But the way I see life is, you go in with lower expectations, anything better is usually a good surprise. Like how I've been surprised with how the anime's been handled recently, so yay. Low expectations, better happiness. But honestly, I feel like I forgot to... I mentioned I would go over the smaller plot points, and I didn't, except for the flame clouds, Hiyori and Denjiro, and it seems like Orochi is either dead or it's a fake out because this isn't the first time we've had a panel or two just staring at a severed head of Orochi. The only difference is this one's on fire. Is Orochi actually down for the count? I'm just gonna assume so, and until I said otherwise, just keep assuming so. Until a cover story or otherwise says otherwise. And then in terms of the water, everyone made it to the live floor. Everyone's in the same space, more or less, except for Sanji, who's still holding on to the Oiran. But nonetheless, it's basically done. And the way that the chapter ended with such a more peaceful nature, like once I was able to go through the second reread, realize, oh no, that's Momo resting normally, and that's Onigashima on the ground. So yeah, at the very least... that's good. Actually, I wonder, where did Momo set Onigashima? Did he set it just randomly, or did he cover the hole that I'm going to theorize Big Mom and Kaido are both in? They could be in separate holes, and it could just be over neither hole, or one of the holes. I really don't know. It's just a little fun thought, really. Don't put any stock in it, I'm not. But nonetheless, not that they'll hold them. Not that Onigashima needs to survive. Technically, just the people on Onigashima need to survive. I'm on a tirade. I enjoyed the chapter. Cover story. Fire. That's all I got to say. I mean, I look forward to the cover story, especially now that there's nothing too pressing in the main story except for, is the escaped CP0 agent going to be the one who tells the world about Kaido's defeat? Technically speaking, not directly, no. CP0 is meant to be secretive, so... In fact, I'm actually wondering how the news is going to get out, because if the Cypher Poles are the only government agents that... Well, actually, no. Because I don't think anyone else has mentioned. I haven't watched all the reviews yet. I've only really watched Grand Line reviews so far. Still need to watch Tyrant King Kuma's and Otaku Talks. I only watched Tekking so far. But nonetheless, anyone I've known so far hasn't mentioned Drake. Because Drake was absent this chapter, but out of all the government agents, all the government-related people, he's the only one who is not going to be more secret. I mean, he's Sword, so he might be, technically. But at the same time, he's part of the Marines, so he might pass the information to Kobe, and who knows what goes from there. But somehow, it's more likely that Drake's going to be responsible for the news getting out than the CP0 agent. Just saying, because he's probably just gonna report to the Gorosei. You think the Gorosei is gonna say, "The world is different now. 2 of the 4 Yonko have been defeated"? Or was there 5 emperors? According to Morgans. But Morgans isn't an officiant on these things. But then again, technically speaking, we don't decide who the Yonko are either. 5 emperors. Now there's 3. What's the new term for that, though? I mean, technically speaking, they're still both probably alive, so there's still maybe technically 5 emperors. We'll wait until Big News Morgans gets his hands on the information. Until next time, guys, I am Smalls of Black Knight Anime and Manga. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope you guys liked the video. I did the face cam thing this time because I have a bit of a set. We used to do the One Piece volumes in the background. Got a new fluffy mic to my right. You can kind of see a little bit of it. But overall, decent lighting. I stream more often on Twitch most Saturdays. This past one I was off, but the gaming channel will be in the card right here. I don't know. This is flipped for me right now. It'll be in one of those 2 corners, the gaming channel, and there are the VODs for the last 2 streams. The next one will not be the 21st, but the 28th around 2:30, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you guys want, you guys can, the Twitch is actually in the link below as well. So if you want the VODs, they'll be up to Sunday after the 29th. Well, the next VOD. I'm thinking of doing highlights on that channel as well, but if you want to, please like this video, subscribe to this channel if you want more One Piece, and if you want to check out the gaming stuff, Twitch and the gaming channel are both in the links below, and I'll also put in the card above the gaming channel. So thank you guys.